Hey guys, welcome to Ibby Wood Designs. Today it feels like Christmas. I've already tore open the package a little bit without letting you guys in. So I'm going to show you what I've been up to. And I found this product online. This guy back here, you can see I've started putting it together. You already probably know what it is if you're into woodworking, and it's a dust collector. I went ahead and purchased the WEN DC1300 model, I believe. And we're going to get that thing up and running. So far, you can see that I've opened up the tool packaging. It has your normal bolts, your nuts and screws, and it has the other things that you would need for hooking up the hoses and the bags. So we're going to get into all of that. But right now, since I jumped the gun a little bit, started putting this together, and you can see a little bit here. It has a simple metal tray with 4 casters under it. Casters seem okay. We'll see how they do in production. And then we've got the main motor unit on top, and that came in one piece with a bracket. And that bracket supports that heavy part of the motor. Now inside the box that this was shipped in, it was a little beat up. The styrofoam packaging around it held up for the most part, but I was a little concerned when I pulled off the top and saw some broken styrofoam. So this thing will get thrown around during the shipping, and it is a product that's manufactured in China from what I understand. But you can see here in the box itself how things were sort of laid out. I've still got the metal ring in there that holds the bags that will eventually attach, and then also the metal bars that are going to hold that up as well. All right, so let's go ahead and finish building this, and then we're going to hook it up to some tools and just see how well this WEN product does. It claims 1300 CFMs. I'm not going to measure that scientifically. All I really care is that it will suck up the dust from my planer, from my joiner, my table saw, and when I'm doing some sanding. If it does that, this is a win for my part.
You know, lately I found it really therapeutic to just get out in the shop and build something or do something. It's a great way that I can focus on other things and use different parts of my brain. You know, I find that working on hobbies and having that time can clear the space in your mind to open up other opportunities. For example, help you work out a problem that maybe you've had at work. Just allowing yourself to take that mental break from your day-to-day routine. So this is what I'm doing here. It's not hard work. Kind of reminds me of spending time with my boys building Legos. We do that every Christmas. My boys get me a Lego set, typically the architecture set, and we'll spend time building that together. So it's been a great fun memory for me to do for the past 10 years or so. I think one of the things that was maybe not ideal for the WEN is this piece right here. Is sure, it holds the bags, but the metal strapping is a little challenging to get on. It's not terrible, but there's probably better designs out there, especially for that bottom plastic part that you'll see coming up. So I struggled with that a little bit, but cut some of that out. But overall, it's pretty easy to put together, except for getting those bags on. Here's the dust collection. It has standard 4-inch dust collection ports on it. You could certainly change that out and go direct pipe right into there if you were hooking up to another system. I think the WEN bag that is provided. Filters down to 0.5 microns, which I think is okay. I know there's some better bags out there that will filter down to 0.3 microns. That might be something I'll look at in the future. And here's the plastic bag. They just didn't design that well enough to clip the bag on to find some way to hold it so that you could get that strapping on. And then the other thing they forgot to do is in the instruction manual, they had you put the handle on after you put the bag on. So the instructions were okay, but there were a few parts in there that was just made you scratch your head. It's like, what are you trying to say? But it's easy enough to figure out. You'll get through it.
All right, I've got the dust collector put together now, and it was actually a pretty easy build, as you can see here, and just watching through the video. So not too complicated. I did have to do a couple things. For one, I did have to install a new circuit breaker. The manufacturer requires that you have a 25 amp breaker or higher. I only had a 20 in my box that was available, so I had to get one of those and ran some new lines. So I'm going to dedicate a power outlet for this. So the other thing is, my shop is in limbo. Right now, not only is it part wood shop, but it's also, let's see, mechanic shop, lawn and garden shop, general warehouse, you name it, and about half of my shop is taken up with things not dedicated to woodworking. So I'm in a state of flux, so I didn't want to put anything permanent in yet. One of the things I'd like to do is run some PVC pipe and get that to some of the tools, but for now, I just went with something really simple. And it works real well with this General Lee orange. And if you're a Broncos fan, I guess this blue works okay. So you've got your blue and green, you can celebrate your team. Not my team, but hey, this works. So I went and I got the Rockler Quick Connect system. And it's actually pretty nice. And this hose is expandable from 3 to, I don't know, 20 feet or something like that. They have varying lengths. But for me, this is going to allow me to take this to one of the ports down here and connect this Quick Connect guy right onto something like my planer. And it's just going to go on there like that. And I'll need to position this thing so that the plastic pipe is out of the way. But it allows me to quickly move from one position to another. And I'm going to group the table saw and also my jointer in this general area for now and see how that works out. So I think it'll do really well. So the big question is, will this suck? And will it suck enough, or will it just suck? I think it's going to be just fine. At 1300 CFMs, I'm mostly going to need maybe 400 or 500 because I'm only going to be running one machine at a time. So we're going to give it a try. So we might as well start this guy up and see what happens. All right, now the switch is on the back side of this, and it's just a simple reach down and turn it on. And there we go. It's not too loud, but I think it's going to generate just enough for me. It's not too bad. It's pulling in a little bit. Take it off of here. Oh yeah, it's got good suction. Probably can suck all the hair off my head. That's little that's left of it anyway. But yeah, I think it's going to do the job. Now the biggest dust maker in here is obviously the planer, for me anyway. So I'm going to grab a board, we're going to do a little planing and see if I can do this without having to wear my original dust collection, which is just a regular mask.
As you guys can see there in the background, the dust is just spinning and circling and gathering there in the bottom, and can't tell you how satisfying that was to see that. So I really was like a kid in a candy store, just like totally amazed by this thing. I knew what it would do, but just seeing it in action and knowing what that's going to mean for me and my shop and not having to sweep the floor is going to be great.
I gotta tell you guys, this WEN is a win for me. Man, that thing sucks in a good way. So for someone that's never had dust collection and all of my years of woodworking, it is really nice to be able to plane this board from, I think, 1 1/8 down to about 7/8, maybe 3/4, close to 3/4, and just, it's all in there. It's not laying all over my floor. I'm not spending 15, 20 minutes cleaning up the shop. It's a super win for me. So glad I got this. And the only reason that I was able to get it is I happened to run across Matt Law on 731 Woodworks. And during the Prime Day deals, he mentioned this guy. And I was like, okay, I'll take a look, see what the price is. And the price was reasonable. It was on sale, I think, for like 280 bucks. And that's still more than I wanted to spend. But the great thing is I had a gift certificate. Brought this thing down to 180 bucks for me. I was like, what's the risk? For the amount of time it's going to save me every time I need to plane a board, I have quite a bit of rough lumber. It's going to be a huge savings. Definitely worth 180 bucks plus the hose that I had to buy and the quick connect. So all in, less than 300 bucks for being able to hook up dust collection to my 3 big main dust polluters. But next thing I'll have to tackle is my miter saw, because it makes a mess. And I'm hoping that with the other side of the dust port, I can run something out to it as well and finally rid myself of the dust in this shop. So if you're looking for a dust collector, this should maybe be on the list of considerations, especially if you're looking for a budget option. I know there's tons of them out there, and sure, we'd all love to have one of the $2,000-3,000 one, but I was looking at a Grizzly and it was going to be twice the price. And for me, this thing works. It's the right price, right product. So definitely a win for the WEN.